So we need 4 participants for this tea ceremony, which will be a traditional tea ceremony, but also with a lecture on the history of the tea, little bit English tradition and culture. Right, if you want to say more.
I'm very happy to be presented by ThalieLab here and to be at Asia now. And of course, to be in Paris is an amazing city. I made this set when to mark almost because I lived in the UK for half of my life, and then the other half in Taiwan. And both places have a very strong tea drinking tradition. And this set is a combination of the two cultures, the Eastern appreciation, but also the sort of British type of milk, sugar, tea set, so the multiple, the sort of ornateness. And it comes with a lot of stories which I would like to tell today in the ceremony. And I invite 4 people to join. Natalie,
thank you.
Alessandra, what's your name? Sure. And your name is? Margaret. Please. Anyone else? Perhaps a man?
A man. Lionel?
No, but
I can try.
Oh, please. And everyone's very welcome to observe. Ladies and gentlemen. Bonjour. Bienvenue to the tea ceremony. It's an activation of my narrative sculpture, the tea set. I hope to give you a positive history of the Britain's favourite drink. Tea has come a long way since being discovered 5,000 years ago in China. Legend has it that the emperor at the time, Shennong, was sat beneath a tree while his servants boiled drinking water. When some of the tree leaves grew in, the scientifically curious emperor tried it and he loved it. That became tea, the first tea. But it was not until the 17th century when trade between Europe and Asia increased that tea reached the British shores. We've got a royal marriage to thank. It was the Portuguese princess Catherine de Braganza who brought the continental tea drinking habits to the British court. She married Charles II in 1662. Tea drinking back then was a real status symbol in Britain. The fashion spread from the court to the wealthy classes, and then tea drinking is considered as a sign of gentility and refinement, and you'll see the tea sets featuring in a lot of portraits. So at the time when tea sets is accompanying people's portraits, that normally shows that is as important as the sort of personality. The utensils used were quite often very many and very ornate. So, for example, the tea caddy here were quite often locked to stop servants from stealing the precious content, which has been shipped all the way from China. So tea is seasonal, and very fast clipper ships in the 19th century would race out to arrive back with tea. It's therefore something you want to show off to your guests. Serving tea was a great way to display wealth, etiquette, and worldly know-how, all the while being hospitable. But how do we go from being a luxury good to a common drink in Britain? And it was at a very heavy cost. To pay for the country's growing habit, British traders sold opium to China in exchange for tea. Then the Chinese government tried to ban it, but British sent their gunboats to negotiate a deal. It was actually tea that largely was responsible for the 2 opium wars that you might have heard of. Meanwhile, Britain's control of India had grown, with demand outstripping supply of China to quench the country's thirst. Swaths of land in India are cleared for tea cultivation, as well as the ecological costs. It's worth bearing in mind that even now, majority of leaf is picked hand by hand, leaf by leaf. So the scoop here is a reminder of the unseen cost of tea. The heavy end asks for consideration and consciousness while we serve ourselves 2 scoops today. So please. And 2 more scoops for everyone. Back. The traditional pot method using loose tea leaves gives a greater depth of flavor. However, on average, 96% of tea in Britain is brewed using a tea bag. Because high surface area of tea powder in bags means that time is saved, which suits our busy lives nowadays because tea is just another beverage for us. The traditional Chinese and Japanese tea ceremonies were very different. They are very much social activities, a time when people come together in an intimate setting to connect. The use of small cups together with a big pot here, means that you cannot stray too far away from the teapot, as you need a constant refill. This is not only to keep you close together and to share the conversations during the ritual of tea pouring, but it also has the practical function of ensuring that the tea is hot. With the tea set here, the sugar bowl we use as a timing device. This is because George Orwell said in his rule of tea drinking on number 11, no sugar. So each cup measures 1 minute, actually this particular instance 1 minute 20 seconds, and we'll pour it 3 times to keep time. I think it's too nervous. sorry.
How life works.
And then we flow. I think the sugar bowl is too nervous to see everyone.
A little bit shy.
I think I know the reason is what tea feel. Masses. Government and business were joined by religious leaders in proclaiming the merits of tea for the masses. Together with milk and sugar, its rounded taste very quickly infiltrated homes. But we need just 1 extra minute. Take the time to pour the hot water back into the cup. Before I can pour tea or milk, we have to ask the all-important question: do you add milk before tea, or do you add milk after? The sequences of great and divided debate in Britain. The writer George Orwell published an essay in the matter in 1946, stating 11 rules of tea drinking. Number 10 was to add milk after tea, not vice versa. And as I mentioned, number 11 was no sugar. However, if you disagree with George Orwell, you'll be happy to hear that Royal Society of Chemistry has looked into this matter. And according to science, milk should be poured in first, so that the denaturation of milk protein could be prevented, so milk is less likely to clump. There's also blind tests, and no one can tell the difference. So, would you like to have milk or tea first?
No milk.
No milk. Great, thank you.
Essentia, right?
This is English breakfast. All that we have left now is to drink, and as we drink our tea now, let's appreciate the time we have together. Core concept of Japanese tea ceremony, Ichigo Ichie, roughly translates to one time, one meeting. Speaks about every encounter being special and worth cherishing. It's also a reminder that every tea ceremony is unique, even though the elements that make up might be similar. With that in mind, I hope you enjoy the encounter today and have learned a little bit about the staple British life. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And in Paris.
If you have any questions or comments, feel free.
Thanks, Andrew.